Recording has started.
Yes, sir.
Testing, testing.
We're back.
Back after a long hiatus,
Yeah,
but
a
don't judge us.
period of disappearing and growing, right?
Yeah, man, that's what you know. We're going to be talking about judgment, and that's one. I think that's one aspect is it's okay to I don't know, take a break, relax if you have other distractions, maybe. But a lot of people don't realize that those things are exactly what's developing you for further things.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you and I've talked about like seclusion. That's where I've been at the last month is just secluding and really just hammering down on my mind, body, and soul growth, right? And just improving and expanding on these areas where it's like, yeah, I've been experiencing growth, but there were still blind spots that I didn't realize I had, and I've had some really deep epiphanies in the last month. And why though? Because I was fucking closed off, and I was just to myself. I wasn't being distracted by other people and other people's opinions and any of that nonsense. I was just handling what I needed to handle, you know. And that's allowed me to be dialed in even more in 1 month's time.
Yeah, because kind of well related to that, yesterday we were talking about judgment, and when I personally am going through stuff like that where it's growth, I have a tendency to be like, oh, what the heck's wrong with me, like judging myself. But then I'm always reminded, like, you're human, you're gonna make mistakes, like it's not the end of the world.
Well, it's kind of like we talked about yesterday, right? People talk about sin. What is the meaning of sin? The Sanskrit, word sin. What is the meaning? Is you missed the mark. So you just missed the mark from whatever it was you were going for. So what do you do with that? You pick up and learn from whatever it was you missed the mark on, but you don't judge yourself because you missed the mark, right? Because what tends to happen is, like we were talking about yesterday, is you tend to start judging yourself. And then what that turns into is judgment of others and then judgment of situations. And oftentimes, then you're down that rabbit hole of just sitting there spewing all your shit onto everybody, instead of just looking at yourself, forgiving yourself, picking yourself up, learning, and keep moving forward. And the same thing, like we talked about yesterday with others, what I've learned is why do I want to spend time judging others? Then that means there's something about me that I'm not happy with inside myself if I have time to go focus on what I think other people are doing wrong. Because my only job is to grow myself and then
well
in
you know
turn help others.
I think a part of that is a part of maybe somewhat societal upbringing. It's like, oh, this person, a lot of people are quick to jump to conclusions or quick to, they're like, oh, there's a problem, I need to fix it no matter what the cost is. Like, that could be even something as simple as, oh, my kid spilled Cheerios on the floor, so I'm going to be a butthead. But it's like, take a step back. You used to be a kid. We're all still kids, really. So, like,
Well, kind of like I said earlier, we're like a bunch of toddlers fumbling around, right? Like trying to figure shit out. And so we're always growing and expanding. Like it doesn't matter how old we get, you should be always just truly, in my opinion, diving into like, how can I better myself? Like, like a practice I use instead of judging myself at the end of each day, sometimes in the morning, but usually at the end of the day, is I look at like, okay, what did you do well today? And what did you totally fuck up? Even if it's something like, man, I really responded shitty in that conversation today, right? Then I learn, okay, how can I learn to shut my mouth? Right. So I look at things and figure out how can I be just a little bit better tomorrow. And then you start building momentum off that growth, and you put a day together, a week, a month, a year, and then you're a completely different fucking person. Right.
well, one thing I believe is true is like, we shouldn't judge others because we're not perfect ourselves. So, like, I always think about, like, why am I having these thoughts? Is it because of programming, or like, uh everybody makes mistakes, dude. Everybody.
100%.
There's not one person on this planet that doesn't mess up something somewhere.
Absolutely.
But the problem is that we kind of touched on that yesterday too. Is like, so many people. I think a part of judgment of ourselves and others is harping on the past.
Yeah,
It's like the past is already gone. Did you learn from it? But don't hold it against somebody else just because they made a mistake a year ago. You know what I mean? Or 10 years ago or 3 days ago. It's like
exactly.
we're so quick. I don't know. I think a lot of it is also fear and a little bit of pride and ego. Like we're so quick to kind of like hold things against other people. But then again, like you said, that's also kind of projecting what's within yourself.
Absolutely. And obviously, it's easier for a person to focus on other people's flaws or whatever you want to call them, but not their own, right? That's why they say like it's one of the hardest things for some people to do is to sit in a room by themselves for an hour with zero distraction and nothing but their thoughts because they're afraid of what's going to come up. But like I tell people, that seclusion, that quiet time, that silence is where you start to see your shit, right? And like
Yeah.
for me, I'll like what I'll do is I'll journal out, man, like stuff I'm seeing, and I'm like, wow, like I really got to be better here. I got to be stronger here. And it's like we've talked about yesterday too, and many times before is self mastery. It's mastering the mind, man. Everything is in the mind, right? Like the moment you gain control of your mind and you are the master over your mind, your whole life will change. Literally in a moment. If you say, okay, this is it, like my old thinking has done nothing but fuck me and I'm done with this, watch how your whole life will change.
Well, yeah, no, I agree because that's something we talk about a lot in our previous episodes is the battle the battlefield for your soul is in your mind.
Hmm.
What you think and so you are. So um a part of that is not just what you think of yourselves, but the world and other people. Like we're not here to condemn each other, no matter what you see in TV, news, Hollywood, whatever. We're here to lift each other up. That's the whole point.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And by judging, you're just setting a stage for chaos in a way, or darkness. If you, that's how I would relate it, because the light is supposed to be like you can still acknowledge a mistake or wrongdoing, but it's also in the way that you handle it that really changes. Like you see someone struggling, like I've struggled before. So because I know that struggle, why wouldn't I go over to that person and pick them up instead of putting them down?
Absolutely.
You know, we're all more alike than we are different. We're all just trying to do our best.
It's like we've said before, we're one giant whole, we're one giant unit. And if we all understood, like you just said, that like I feel one of our biggest jobs from learning. So like you brought up, you have a past, you've learned from your past, you've shifted. Now what do you get to do is help other people do the same thing. So when you see people struggling with a similar thing, you get to go and help them if they so ask for your help. You get to be of service to them and say, hey, like I understand what you're going through because I've been there, and let me show you the techniques and the habits I've used to change that way of being and to make my life better, right? And then you just continue to get better, and then you continue to help other souls do the same thing, which should be the end goal for all of us.
And what's surprising is like, what's crazy about that too is how, if you truly kind of like awaken to that part of life, how simple it is.
Yeah.
It's not complicated. Most people don't need a 3 hour lecture on how to do better. Most people just need a little spark of hope to be like, oh, this isn't the end. This isn't like a thing that's going to loom over my head forever, because you can overcome anything.
Hmm. Yep.
It's so easy to help others. We just put limitations on ourselves because of multiple reasons. Most of it is probably our inner biases or inner
Inner
sort of
turmoil.
blockages that we have. Yeah.
Think about it. Like, why don't we think at times that we're good enough to go help anybody else because you're still defeating yourself through your thinking, right? When you're up here saying, like, well, shit, I've messed up before. Well, guess what? Everybody has. But did you learn from that? Did you stop the behavior? Sometimes, and you know what? Sometimes we fall 10, 20, 30, 100 times in the same shit until we figure it out. But eventually, you usually figure it out and you're like, I don't want to do that anymore. So I know that action, that behavior, that thought, that whatever was not what I want to experience. Now you just created the life that you want to experience, right? You have an idea of how you want life to look. And so it's like, instead of us defeating ourselves and holding ourselves back by thinking about past failures or by worrying about things that don't exist yet that may never happen, live in the present moment, right? Find joy in the moment. Look at your wins, like stack all those small wins in the moment. And then when you see an opportunity to help someone else, do it.
Well, that's something I for myself, that's something I thank God for every day. I'm like, thank you for a new day, for an opportunity. Just like just being able to wake up the next day is a blessing in itself.
Absolutely.
You know, like we
And
don't we lose sight.
think about how every day is a fresh start. You could have completely fucked the whole day up yesterday. And you woke up this morning, did you literally have a fresh, clean slate? Like, here we go, brand new day. So who cares what I did yesterday? I get to make today a great one, right? And you do that every single day. Before you know it, you're like, man, it's been 6 months, it's been a year, and I've had nothing but wins. This has been great,
Yeah.
you know? And then your whole life is different.
But that I think that's another part too, is there's like ironically there's more often times I would say you don't start winning until you've lost a bunch.
Yeah,
Like there's so much more learning in the losing stages of whatever you're doing.
absolutely. What
You're like,
creates a stronger mind, dude? Challenge, right? When you make it through a challenge, your mind just got stronger. It's just like a physical challenge. You push yourself in a physical challenge, your body just got stronger, which in turn your mind got stronger as well, right? So there really is no such thing as failure. Yeah, you're gonna fucking quote unquote fail, but you're failing your way to success. So keep failing, because
yeah,
otherwise you can live in fear of failure, never do anything, and then if you get to live till you're old, wake up at 90 years old and be like, what the hell did I do my whole life? Run away from the possibility of failure, run away from people's opinions, or face all that shit head on and live the life of your dreams and be able to get to the end and be like, man, there was a lot of challenge, but that was one badass life.
yeah. I think that's something I learned early on in life. When my dad, he was like, "Don't run away from your problems,
Hmm.
because if you do that, they're not going to stop chasing you."
Hmm. Yep. Face those fuckers head on, man, and keep going. Because honestly, we create a bigger, oftentimes our fears. Think about how we get a thought of something we're fearful about, and we create a story around that thought if we so allow our mind to do. And then before you know it, you have this mountain that you've created that if you just face that fear, you're like, wow, that wasn't that big of a deal. And you get to the other side of that fear and it's beauty. And so it's like, just face it. Don't run from it. Who cares?
Well, that
And that can be
that's
anything.
yeah. I mean, that's aligned with what we were talking about on the phone yesterday. Steward your thoughts.
Hmm.
Where are these thoughts coming from? Because if you're able to dial it in, like most of fear and anxiety and stuff, like you say, if you're fearful or you have anxiety, you're thinking about the past or the future. You're not in the
Well, usually
present.
if you're depressed, you're thinking about the past. If you're
There you
anxious,
go.
you're thinking about the future. But if you're fairly calm, you're living in the present and you're like, wait a minute. Let me evaluate what's actually happening right now. Everything's pretty good. Like I'm breathing, I have a roof over my head, I have food, and I have the ability to change my life. So everything's actually great.
I think that yeah, I think that when you can dial in where those thoughts are coming from, and like you said, look at like like when we were talking yesterday, like look at what you're doing right now in this moment. Is anything wrong? No. So why are you worried?
Hmm.
Yeah. But
Yep.
people, well, we get so wrapped up in things. It can be difficult at
And
times.
that again all comes back to the mind, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So
why
I
I
tell
steward the
that
mind.
Yeah, that's why I tell people, man, one of the I guess like if I could throw out practices, of course meditation, because meditation slows the mind, but then it's a constant redirecting of your mind. So every moment throughout the day when you see or you receive a thought and you're like, man, this is not serving me. This is one of those repetitive thoughts that I have every day. Immediately, without fail, replace that with some other thought that's empowering, right? Take yourself out of fight or flight, take yourself out of the primal state, even through deep breathing, box breathing, these moments that can instantly change your brain chemistry and put you in a stronger state. And now start having powerful thoughts. Listen to a video that lifts you up and do that over and over every day. You create new neural pathways in the brain, which then creates new ways of being on a regular basis, right? Because
You
most
know,
people live on a loop of negativity, and that's why they have the same neural pathways that are firing every day. And it seems like life never changes.
you know what's amazing about that is that you don't have to wait for New Year's to make a change.
Exactly. Exactly.
So,
What, you don't? You gotta be kidding me, Nate.
like, dude, it's in. It's kind of like, it's almost, I don't know. It's kind of like almost like a big psyop. Like, oh, New Year's, New Year, new me. Like you can be a new you any day of the week.
Dude,
You don't
you
have
know what
to
I
wait.
say about that? I'm like, if you want, if so, treat every day like a Monday and every month like a January.
Yeah.
If that's what works for you, then fucking do that. And you'll never be like, well, I gotta wait till January again. It's fucking January every month. It's Monday every day. Face that shit. Change your life.
Yeah. I think, if, that's the part is like, if you don't like something about your life, you have the ability to change it.
Yeah.
And so
That's
many
the fucking
people,
magical power we have.
so many people don't even realize it because some people are hopeless. And just like we talked about lifting other people up, all they need is just a little spark.
Hmm.
Just a little, hey, you're doing all right.
A
You can
little
do
bit of
this.
encouragement. Yep.
It's
A little
crazy
bit of love.
the littlest amount of, I guess, caring what that can do to someone.
Absolutely.
Like when you go out and you talk, like we've talked about this before, where you have random people telling you dumping their whole life story on you, and you're like, hey, it's gonna be all right.
Yep.
You know?
Because sometimes that's all they needed, right? They just needed somebody to listen and then give them, like you said, just a simple, uplifting sentence or word, and literally can change the entire trajectory of their life in that moment because it gave them that little bit of hope. Like, oh shit, I can change my thinking and change my life right now. Crazy. Let's do it. You know what I mean?
Well,
Some people have never had that.
that's the thing about what, for my experience, getting closer to God has done for me. It's like, what are you worried about? The Creator is literally with you every single day, all day,
Every
no matter
second.
what you're experiencing. Because
You're
we get,
literally a divine spark of the creator. So how would you ever be separated from God?
yeah, unless you're like, even it's not a very easy thing to do, even if you try really hard.
Dude, I don't care. Even if you're an atheist and you're like, there's no such thing, I'm like, you still aren't fucking separate from God. Because no matter what, we all came from the same creator. And if you look at, so like I always tell people, take a moment, look back at your life, and you can literally connect the dots of how everything has synchronistically come together to get you where you are. Whether that's for the life you want or the life you don't. Either way, it's going to show you that the path, right? And so at the end of the day, though, life's always trying to lift you up. So even if it seems like it's been a very hard road, that very hard road has been trying to prep you and get you to learn and expand so you can live the life that you actually came to live.
Well, that's what fascinates me about when I pray or when I talk to God. I'm like, how amazing is it that we have a creator that is like, they say slow to anger but great in power. Can you imagine if he was quick to anger?
Hmm.
The world would be on fire right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if the one who created you isn't freaking out about every little mistake that you make, then why are we?
And why are
It's
we doing that to ourselves and other people?
exactly. That's what, that's a common thing I've been hearing is it's not about being perfect, it's about alignment. Like we talk about a lot. What would
Absolutely.
What would God do? He wouldn't throw you down in the street and call you a loser.
Exactly. Exactly. Not at all. Right? God will love you through everything all the time. So why not love yourself through everything? Why not
And
speak a little bit better to yourself? That doesn't mean you can't get on your, like I was telling you, I think yesterday, I was like, sometimes, like, I sometimes I get on my ass, like when my mind wants to take me somewhere stupid, I'm like, yeah, shut the fuck up, we're not doing that, and I instantly shut it down, right? But why not just love and forgive ourselves and understand, man, like it's okay. You're gonna fail and you're gonna fail again, but just fail forward so you can see what you're gonna hit and keep moving.
yeah, because even you know, like failure is the baseline of success.
Hmm.
Like the fact, just like the fact that waking up in the morning is a blessing on its own. The fact that you had the opportunity to even try something and you sucked at it, at least you had the opportunity to tackle it. Where
And then,
most people wouldn't even try.
yeah, like you said, that's a great blessing, right? And then what do? Okay, that didn't work. Now let me approach it from a different angle and see how I can come at it differently this time. And then guess what? You'll probably fail again. That's okay. Get up and come with another angle. Like I believe it's kind of like we talked about. If you just keep going, God will put the pieces together. And eventually that door will be kicked open that leads you to the kingdom you've been looking for, right? But it's literally consistency and discipline to get yourself there. And it's disciplining the mind, and you will end up getting to where you want to be. But don't have attachments to the outcome, time frame, how it's going to happen. Just know that you are committed to being better and you have a vision and just go toward it, like the life that you see of your dreams, and do it with peace and ease, right? Be disciplined, be consistent, but don't be attached and don't be wound tight because you're slowing down the timeline if you live like that.
Well, that goes back to, righteous man falls 7 times and rises yet again. Like you can, like we already said, you can fall a million times. You don't fail until you give up.
Exactly.
When you give up, that's when the real failure hits. It's not that you made a mistake. It's not that you weren't good at something. It's that you just totally took yourself out of the arena. Like, all right.
Absolutely.
But I don't know. I think there's a healthy level of, I think, especially for men, we have a tendency to beat ourselves up a lot. And I think that it's kind of like a fine line between I can do better, but do it in such a way that you're not like, oh, I'm a piece of garbage. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah, no, 100%. Like I said, it's like you're never, dude, that's the thing, right? It's like you're never a piece of garbage, you're never a piece of shit. Like you do things and you're like, okay, I screwed up. I hurt somebody. I hurt myself. How can I not do that again? And even if you try and you just get a little bit better, but you fumble again, okay, next time that appears, how can I be even better? Until eventually you master it, right? And then that's removed off the plate and you just keep moving.
Well, I think with going back to, I guess, judgment, we have to learn, just like talking about God, like God forgives you if you ask for it, you will receive it, So like we also have to learn to forgive ourselves,
Hmm.
because if you don't, you're just going to carry, if you don't have some type of release, a healthy release of like, okay, I made a mistake. I have, like, maybe you make a mistake and you have some aggression or you have something. If you don't have an outlet for it that's healthy, then it's just going to consume you,
Hmm.
you know? And I think a
Hmm.
lot of people get caught up in, like, again, they get caught up in, oh, I did this last year or yesterday. And they get caught up in, I just can't, they can't look past it and be like, you're not there anymore. That time is
Exactly.
gone. You
Exactly.
have right now.
100%. And you know what? I'm guilty of that. I did that for plenty of years in my life of just looking at things that I had done or, mistakes I felt that I made and beat myself up over it. And then the other thing I allowed was other people to also beat me down because of my past. Even after having changed everything I've worked on and made massive improvement and don't repeat the same things. And then you have people come along and try to remind you of who you used to be. And like I tell people, you can literally change in one instant if you so choose to do, right? If you're just like, this is it, I'm done with living that way, I'm not making that decision again, and you never go back, you commit to that, you discipline yourself in that, you'll completely live a different life and you will be a completely different person. But in the mind's eye of other people, they're still going to see you for who you were. And that's okay. Because you know what? That's at the point where you don't care about people's judgment. You don't need anybody external of you's approval. You approve of yourself. The creator approves of you at all times. You keep moving forward.
Well, that's something I've learned throughout life, is that, especially recently, like I don't need that goes back to what we talked about before, like validation. Like
Hmm.
I don't seek validation from any other human on this planet.
Exactly.
Like what is even done in the darkness will be seen, which means everything is seen anyway. Doesn't matter if you go sneak in a corner and do some crazy stuff, like, and people might not have seen it, but God saw you. So
Yep.
why are you seeking validation from people? I mean, yeah, it's healthy to like get advice and talk to people and have a community and stuff, but at the end of the day, it comes down to you and the creator.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they all and like that saying goes, like, who are you when nobody's watching? Because that's when it counts the most.
Yeah.
So what work are you putting in to change, to grow, to be better when no one's fucking clapping for you?
That's kind of one of the most freeing feelings, is when, you know, when you're young, I guess more so for younger people who haven't really experienced too much of life yet. And it's not all young people, it's just a general statement. Like when I think that when we tend to be more immature in our life or early in our life, we're like, oh, no one said good job or whatever, blah blah blah. And it's like once you get to the point where you don't need any of that, that's so liberating, because you're like, it
Absolutely.
doesn't matter if anybody saw me do it or what they think. I know I did the right thing. God sees it. That's all I need.
That's it. 100%.
Just like how we were talking about yesterday, how like, you know, when people, like we were talking about, you know, some people might project something, and or they're talking about how they used to know you, but you're not. A lot of people don't understand, when you actually do work, you're not even the same person anymore. You're
Not
a
even
different,
from one day to the next, oftentimes.
yeah,
You
you're
know?
a different version of yourself.
Yeah.
So like, uh, it doesn't matter what other people think, because you don't need validation from people,
Not at all.
unless you're like, I
Not at
mean,
all.
even, I mean, on an extreme, you know, if you're out, you know, doing some real harm, you know, what you do is going to come back to you, whether if someone sees it or not.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure you're aligned with the one who made you.
Yep. Energy is real, man, and it'll be returned in one way, shape, or form. One way, shape, or form, baby. Yep.
God's like, hey, fucker, you see that? I saw that.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then, and then smack, and
He,
then like, all
he,
right.
yep. God's like, here's one big boomerang effect, fucker. Here it comes, right back at you. Yep. Oh, believe me, I know. I've been there and done that.
Yeah, I think we all have in some way.
Yeah.
Everyone at
Yeah.
some point. But yeah, I think that, you know, that's where that that's this what we're talking about, basically self mastery.
Hmm.
Steward your thoughts. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing. Focus on how you can be better every hour, every day, and just keep and endure. Don't give up.
Absolutely. Never give up.
Yeah, because when you give up, that's when the real failure hits. But
Absolutely. And that's when regret sets in, right?
and then that creates a whole nother storm within yourself.
Oh yeah.
You're like, oh, what if you play the what if game? Like, oh, what if I did that and then this, and then you're like, oh, well, then you're thinking to yourself, oh, it's too late now. But that's another little mind game we play with ourselves. It's too late. Like, no.
I'm like,
Yeah.
if you're breathing, it's not too late, man. Like, you could literally fuck your whole life up and change your entire fucking life and come back completely different at any age.
Yeah. Well, any closing remarks? I can't talk today, apparently. See? Now I'm gonna be hung up and be sitting in bed tonight, like, oh, I messed up my words on my recording.
I messed up my words on my podcast. I think if anything, I just want to remind people again, don't judge yourself, don't judge others. Just look at yourself, reflect each day, and think about how you can be a little bit better at some of the shit you feel like you didn't do too great at that day. And what habits and disciplines can you instill in your life that will lead you toward this vision that you have, right? Not attached to an outcome, but just knowing I have a vision of life. Like, you've experienced enough of what you don't want to know what you do want. So what can you do every day that will take you on that path? And don't worry about when or how it's going to happen. Like we said, never give up. And I promise you, without failure, you're going to see the life of your dreams at some point. And you're going to be so fucking happy you did.
Amen. Amen. Well, God bless everybody. We'll catch you in the next
Sending
one.
love to everybody. Yep. Catch you guys next time.